Welcome to Empowered Heart to Heart, where you'll hear messages of hope, conversations that heal, and interviews that empower. Well, hey, this is Dr. Rhonda Simmons, and I am so glad to be with you one more time. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another edition of Empowered Heart to Heart. I am so glad that you're here because we have great things in store for you today. Before we jump into this episode, make sure that you like, comment, and share this video or this podcast episode with your friends. Don't be ashamed, just share it. Let them know what you're watching or what you're listening to, because the stuff that I put out is really good. I've had some wonderful guests on the show, and the content has been so relevant. We are global, and people are downloading our episodes from all over the world. So definitely like, comment, and share this video or this podcast episode with your friends. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel if that's what you're watching on right now, and subscribe and hit the notification button so that you'll know every single time that I upload a new episode. I am so super duper excited that you're here with me today. If you want to be on the show, reach out to me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or X. I should change that from Twitter, but X, you know who I'm talking about. Our handle is TSEFIORG. Yes, I know that's a mouthful, but you got that. It is the acronym for the Simmons Empowerment Foundation Incorporated, of which I am the founder and CEO. So we got all the logistics out of the way, and true to this, as I always say, I have met some of the best people this side of heaven on the show, and today is no exception. I'm so glad to have met so many great people from all over the world. And I've got someone here today right in my own backyard, and so to speak. And I'm so glad to have her on the show. And so I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in. Well, before I do, let me introduce her, because, you know, the suspense is killing us all. I have Miss Samantha Bailey, who was born and raised in Canada, and she moved to Texas in the early 90s, where she built a life centered around her family, and as a mother of 6 and a grandmother of 4. That's wonderful. After uncovering her husband's secret life filled with betrayal, she was forced to rebuild from the ground up. Wow. Some of us can relate to having to rebuild our lives. But in Samantha's darkest moment, she found solace in journaling, which eventually became her book, Deceptive Liaisons, which is a guide for others facing similar pain. Now she's completing her training as a certified Post Betrayal Transformation coach. She is passionate about helping others heal and rise above these betrayals. Hello, Samantha. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. What a great introduction. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for being here. Wow, you are the living epitome of turning your pain into power. Wow, I've got to hear more. How did you uncover your husband's secrets of betrayal?
Wow, great question. It was, I have to go back about 5 years. I was living in Hawaii, absolutely loving paradise. I had made friends. By then, I'd been there for about 3 years. My husband was offered a job there, so we moved. And I was just loving life and enjoying, the tropical climate and everything that goes along with that. And one day I discovered that my husband was having what I thought initially was one affair, but I found out over time and trickled truth when I would uncover more. It took about a year, and I found out he was having multiple affairs with sugar babies, escorts, prostitutes, and spending thousands upon thousands of dollars on them, doing things behind my back, opening up credit cards I wasn't aware of, refinancing our mortgage, and spending, pretty much everything on them.
And she says that with a smile.
I
Wow.
couldn't
Wow.
tell that.
So he didn't just break your heart, but he ruined your credit, it sounds like. And just wow.
Yeah, he thankfully didn't put any of the credit cards in my name. They were all his, but it still was, devastating to find that out. Here, I think we've got all of this savings for retirement, and our home, we had a good amount of equity in it, and uncovering that it's no longer there is quite a shock. It's like financial infidelity as well.
Wow. Oh my goodness. I can't imagine the devastation that you felt. And oh my goodness. And how did he respond once you discovered all this?
Yeah, well, I'll share how I first uncovered quickly. It was one night I couldn't sleep. It was actually the morning of my birthday. And I couldn't sleep, and I went downstairs to watch TV or, do something mindless just to slow my brain down. And something in my head said, check his email. And I was like, oh, never snooped before. Why would I do that now? But I found myself putting in his Yahoo email and once again thinking, well, I don't know his password, but I guessed it first try and I was in and I was scrolling through his email and I saw, everything looked normal, communication between us, between friends, coworkers, nothing out of the ordinary. So I'm feeling a little guilty, but then I clicked archive and the first email I saw was a reservation that he'd been on the week before in Phoenix for business. And the next email, however, was a reservation for two, queen bed, the following night in Waikiki. And I'm like, wait, that can't be for me because he had asked to go out with friends for drinks. Anyway, I was just trying to rationalize everything in my mind, thinking, well, maybe it's a surprise for me. I don't know. He's trying to throw me off. So I decided I was going to go to the hotel the next night and confront whoever was there. I don't know what I was thinking because now they have the keyless entry and you can just go in without going to the front desk. So I would have been waiting in the lobby for hours. But
Mhm.
anyway, I decided to, by this time it's early morning, I got ready for work, took a shower, made a couple of cups of coffee and brought him one cup. And he, put it on his nightstand and he says, thanks, babe. And I just kind of like, oh, you're welcome. Kind of like not very loud. And he's like, what's wrong? And I said, oh, nothing. And he goes, oh, are you sure? And I said, right out the gate, I said, are you having an affair on me? And he says, no, babe, I would never do that. I love you way too much. And he's like holding my hands and looking me in the eye. And I'm like, okay, I must be the wrong person thinking that I was thinking. Went to work and did another quick look at his email. And I saw the reservation that I thought was for Phoenix for business was at a beachfront resort in Honolulu the whole time. Um, he was supposed to be in Phoenix. So I knew right away that the hotel the following night was probably not for me. And there were streamers and balloons and gifts around my desk, and I just kind of lost it and had to leave work. And I certainly didn't feel like celebrating. And I don't remember the drive home. It was about a 30-minute drive. I no remember absolutely nothing. But I remember sitting on the back of the lanai, just looking at nothing, and my eyes just like kind of glazing over because I'm like trying to process everything. And the phone rings, it's him. I let it go to voicemail and he calls again. And after about the third time, I pick up and he says, oh, I called you at work and they said you went home. And I said, yeah, I wasn't feeling too great. I just decided to take the day off because I didn't sleep well last night. And he says, are you sure? Nothing's wrong, nothing else is wrong. And I'm like, I'm going to give him another chance to tell me the truth. So I asked him again, "Are you having an affair on me?" And his reply was instant, almost with a twinge of anger this time, like, "Yeah, babe, of course I love you. I would never do that to you. I would never have an affair, not in a million years." And at that point, I kind of lost it and started accusing him. "I know you weren't in Phoenix on business last week. You were on island the whole time with her. You have another reservation tomorrow." And there was a long, what I felt a long pause. It might have only been 5 seconds. And that confirmed what I had uncovered was the truth. And then I became a detective. And the more I uncovered, the less I really wanted to know. Not that I didn't want to know, it was more like I couldn't believe this man that I knew and loved for almost 20 years had done this, had this secret life. And like I said, it took a year for him to come out with, it was over a dozen different women that he was having affairs with.
Wow. Wow. So, first of all, I am so sorry that you experienced this. Um, this just reconfirms, a woman's intuition. I don't know how, but we just know, you know, and um, and so you physically get through that. That the physical getting through it is much easier than the emotional and the mental part of it. Um, Can you talk to us about your road to healing? You mentioned in your bio that you started journaling. How was that helpful to you?
Yeah, well, it was really helpful. And first off, yeah, it affected me physically, emotionally, mentally. And I had chronic fatigue, spent many days in bed, had to take a leave of absence from work, and just felt physically weak. And emotionally, yeah, I wanted the pain to come to surface. It just feels like, "Oh, I wish someone could just take it out." Like, because like you couldn't feel it like physically. If you're harmed, you have a cut on your hand, that'll heal. But this just didn't seem like it was healing. And when for me personally, when I uncovered it, I went into shock, and there were many days that I don't remember times or days or moments, and I'm going to ask questions like the same ones over again because I forgot that I already asked them. And then I started journaling, and when I would look back, I realized, wow, that happened, and I did that, and he did that. And journaling also kind of tracked my progress, and I realized I wasn't really going anywhere. I was just in that same cycle of victimhood, over and over again. And by this time, and it was 3 years that I went through, that I was in this dark pit. And I was just tired of being sick and tired, and feeling so alone and not knowing where to go. Of course, I had taken counseling and therapy and done all of that, but there was some things that, when you go to the therapist and you tell them your story and they're in shock, you want someone to help you. So I found out early on it's good to find a therapist that is experienced in betrayal trauma. And so anyway, I came upon this website that said to take a quiz and to see where you were in your healing journey. And so I took the quiz, and it was you scored 1 to 5, 1 being you've just found out and you're not in a very good place. 5, you've gone through it, and you're on the road to recovery, and things are way better. And I took the quiz, and I scored a number 3. So basically, I had accepted everything, and I was functioning, but I was like I was carrying around this big ball and chain, a really heavy ball and chain. I could go from here to there, but everything kind of weighed me down, and I was so tired all the time.
Mhm.
I'm like, when I took the quiz, some of the questions were, wow, they got me. And the quiz also gives you like a personalized, this is the courses that you need to take in order to begin your healing journey. And they're different for everyone because healing is not a linear line. And what works for me might not work for you, because you don't want to put someone who has just found out into a class where they're overwhelmed because half the people there, it happened a few years back or something like that. So I loved that it was personalized. I began to take every course I could imagine through this site. And then I realized that I wanted to share the things, like take the journaling from my book and make them into chapters, because I did so many things wrong and I felt so alone. I wanted people to know, anyone who's experienced betrayal, number one, that they're not alone. Number two, I wanted to offer hope for healing. Number three, I wanted to create a website that there were multiple options for them to choose from. And I realized that I wanted to take the coaching course as well, to be certified in helping others who have experienced betrayal trauma.
Yes, that's so good, that you found your path. There's one question that I have, because a lot of times, those of us in the coaching space, we coach from our own personal experiences, not in that we're giving advice to people, but when we're trying to find our niche typically is based upon that we intimately know and can discuss. And so my question is, how did you know when you were healed enough to help someone else?
That's a great question. I realized it was probably just over a year of my healing journey, and when I had begun the courses. And of course, there's always prerequisites to taking the course. To get certified, you have to take you have to go through the healing journey. So when I began that, I realized that I was in a good position, and I had transformed my life from being a victim to not only surviving but thriving, and realizing that I had a new purpose in life. And having a purpose in life that you are so passionate about brings you such joy. And I knew when I had that joy, I wanted to share that with others, because I was in a dark place and I didn't want anyone else to be stuck there like I was.
Yes, yes. Wow. That's so good. So here you are today, moving forward. What's next for you on your journey? Because one thing about it, you as bad as these situations are, no one wants to be defined by them. But we can't deny that because this happened, it changed me in these ways. And so, what's next for you as you continue on your journey in life?
Yeah, well, I want to continue helping others. I'm actually writing two more books. One of them is quite comical because the first book was a bit dark and heavy, and through that was a healing process in and of itself.
Mhm.
So the next one will be a little bit funny. It's about growing up with ADHD in the 60s and 70s, when that wasn't, that was unheard of. So yeah, and then the other one is it's kind of like I'm writing it as I'm living it, and it's called From Betrayal to Prosperity. So
Okay.
I,
Okay.
yeah, and I have some speaking engagements coming up next year, so I'm excited to share, my story with other women and offer them hope. And this month, my story was also featured in two magazines, and yeah, I was excited about that. And I'm scheduled to be on a couple of news shows in January of this year.
Oh, wonderful. Congratulations. That's fantastic. Well, Samantha, I really appreciate you being on my show today. And I am so glad, as I started off this interview, I am so glad that you figured out how to turn your pain into power. And you're just living your best life right now. And I'm really glad that you have healed and recovered from that. And there is a verse that says, "What was meant for evil, God made it good." And so it seems like you're living that Bible verse now, and I'm so glad things have turned around for you.
Yeah, I have one that I love too. It's from Colossians. It's have strength and courage. Fear not because of them, for I am with you always.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is fantastic. Well, Samantha, thank you so much for being on the show. And if you'll hang out just for a minute, as I close the show, I'll get right back with you, okay?
Sir, thank you again.
Absolutely. Wow, what a dynamic story of hope. There is life after betrayal. You know, so many times when we find ourselves in situations like that, we don't um, we don't see any way out. We don't feel like we'll ever recover, but there is hope for us. You know, the Bible says that where there's life, there's hope. And this situation won't last always, because one thing about it, if you've lived long enough, however long that may be, you have figured out that life operates in seasons. Right now, here in Texas, it is just at the beginning of fall. I'm so glad summer is over. But as sure as I'm sitting here, there will be a winter time, although short here in Texas. The seasons will change. And again, right after that, the season will change again. And life is so much like that, where seasons change. And no matter what you're facing, what you're going through, seasons are going to change for you and things will get better. And you have to do whatever it takes in order to get better. Samantha found healing through journaling, and God was able to do something great in her heart so that she could move forward, because that is the ultimate goal, is to keep moving forward. And so I appreciate Samantha being on the show, because her life epitomizes the word empowerment, because sometimes you have to dig way inside of you to pull out that empowerment in order to be successful and move forward. And so I'm glad that you're here on the show with me. I hope that something today encouraged you to hold on and to be strong. Help is on the way. So until the next time, be blessed, be encouraged, but most of all, be empowered. And I'll see you again on the next edition of Empowered Heart to Heart.